What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes checking in here. Midweek special. Today we get to catch up with a good friend of Junkie Radio, Ode Osbourne. He's done quite a few watch alongs with us over at the Sticky Paws studio, UFC Flyweight. He's got a fight coming up here against Jafel Filho in a couple weeks at the Apex in Las Vegas. What's going on, Ode? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I am so glad that I'm doing this with you guys because, you guys are my favorite. Don't tell the other guys, though.
No worries, man. Great catching up with you. Like I've told you in the past, uh, this quick turnover of fights from
Yeah,
week to week, fighters can get lost in the shuffle,
it's
And so
true.
when we're kind of studying up on you guys, when we know we've booked a certain guest, we go back and look. So you fought in August of last year,
Yeah, long time.
and yeah, and
Mhm.
then you just they haven't really been giving you many fights. But I want to just know, how's your health, because I do see it seems like the UFC thinks a lot of you. Like I'll see you at the expo, you know what I mean? I'll see you, around like the Las Vegas scene, I guess,
Well,
quite a lot. So yeah, what's your health like nowadays?
I think I do a lot of work with UFC and the law enforcement here. So Las Vegas Metro, myself, and UFC do a lot of community service. I do tons and tons and tons of community service. So I feel like, hey, at least they could do is hook me up with some tickets every once in a while. You know what I mean? Which I'm grateful for. I don't feel like I don't deserve anything. Everything is earned in this world. So I'm grateful that they think of me, man. I really am blessed.
Hmm. But back to the health question. You are healthy and you can start rattling off fights. Is it maybe just because also flyweight isn't as deep as other divisions, so there's just not as many bodies?
Yeah, that and I think a lot of fighters, not just flyweights, but a lot of fighters, they want to fight the perfect guy all the time. You know what I mean? Where I think the UFC, they love the fact that I'd say yes to anyone. I'm just like, yeah, let's go. So a lot of times it's very hard to find fighters because, if you're not ranked and you're too dangerous, then they're gonna say no. But who knows, man? It's a variable of things. Who knows?
Hmm. You've kind of tapped around the health question. Is your health okay?
Oh yeah, I was. No, my health is amazing. My health is it's amazing. My health is perfect.
Okay, that's
I,
good to
I
hear.
yeah, my health is. I thought answering the other questions was be like, yeah, man, he's looking good. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
how
I
is
want
your
to
health?
see like 2021. I remember you went 2-1, but
Yeah,
fighters just don't get lost in the shuffle if they stay busy. At the same time, I realize your camps are grueling, the sport is grueling, and all that. But the lighter weight fighters are the ones that rely more on quickness, hand-eye coordination, things like that. Like the big dudes, they can go into their mid 40s if they want.
yeah, they can, and it's hard to be a lightweight fighter and fight all the time. To train year round as a lightweight, like a 25er, 35er, it's grueling, man, like you said, because if you don't maintain your speed and your power and your explosiveness, if you like the saying goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think doing things in moderation, right? For example, my last fight, the weight cut I had was probably the worst weight cut out of any fight that I've ever had, and you know, just a lot of different variables caused it. And I know, you know what I mean? I did not feel like myself. But anyways, that's besides the point. My point is it's important to take some time off to heal your body, just as well as your mind. So I did that thankfully because I wanted to fight in December, and that didn't happen. So I'm glad I took a long break from August to about September, October, and then I started training with Farid Basharat in December. Trained with him December and January, preparing him for his fight. I'm a lefty, and his last opponent, Laplin, I think his name is also a lefty. So I trained with him for his camp, and it helped me out because I got this fight coming up. So yeah, my health is amazing right now.
Good to hear.
Yeah, Ode, I kind of want to ask you a little bit about that. The
Mhm.
Vegas scene. There's so many gyms now. There's the PI.
Yeah.
Um, I think gone are the days where fighters just kind of stick one place. They move around because there's a lot of benefits to a lot of these different places. I know you mentioned one time when we were speaking to you about this workout that you do with Dewey Cooper,
Hmm.
and I actually saw it on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that you had like fast forwarded it or something, you know? And I'm like, wait a minute, they're going, that's the speed that they're going at. It was nuts, dude. So can you kind of like update us a little bit on where you're at, who you're working with, and what how this camp has been working out for this fight?
Yeah, man. Dewey Cooper is and forever will be one of the greatest striking coaches. If you watched Daniel Zellhuber this weekend, that prime example. Daniel is one of our guys at BKS MMA. Dewey has a system, and in this system, we're hitting everything: the legs, the body, the head. The legs, the body, the head. Meaning our kicking has to be explosive and fast. Our punches are explosive and fast. Kick the body, kick the leg, kick the head. Kick the body, kick the leg, kick the head. And it's just a system. It's a repetitive system, over and over and over. Nothing changes. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes innate. That's what I'm saying. If you don't keep up with it, then you turn to lose your speed, and I've definitely kept up with it. Now, as far as camps go, Dewey's been with Francis, unfortunately, for this fight. He's been in Saudi Arabia with Francis and Ngannou, but fortunately, I'm fighting a high-level grappler, which I have two new coaches actually. Pedro Falco, he is 15-3 as a pro fighter, and just probably like I'm making it up right now, maybe 10 submissions out of his 15 wins. He's black belt, amazing, has a system just like Dewey, just system, and we've been working just nonstop. Chase Pammy, collegiate wrestler. He runs a wrestling program here in Las Vegas, downtown. It's another, wrestling has been it's actually my bread and butter, but I never use it. And like I said before, if you don't use something, you lose it. And I lost a lot of my wrestling. So I had to go back into the trenches. So that's what I did. I went back into the trenches and, going over the high school. There's a high school travel team that Chase Pammy runs called Gold Rush. And it's just a bunch of high schoolers, man. And they just coming and coming and coming, and they just keep going, man. They just do not stop, and it's great because that's what you need. I think the kryptonite for jiu-jitsu can be wrestling if you know how to use it, and I don't have to learn anything new because I was a high school and a collegiate wrestler. I just lost it because I didn't use it, didn't have a wrestling coach before. And so, yeah, I got a wrestling coach, and we've been just, grinding in wrestling, grinding in jiu-jitsu. And for this camp, I've been over at Extreme Couture, working with those guys, a lot of bodies over at Extreme. So it's Dewey will come back March 10th. So when he does come back, he will be in my corner. He hasn't, been able to be here for my camp. Like I said, it's okay because this guy is primarily a grappler. So, I've been preparing in the right areas.
A lot of changes at the top of your division. It's for the fans, it keeps things fresh, but
Yeah.
for fighters, what does that feel like for you? Would you rather there be one guy that kind of reigns, and then when Ode Osbourne gets there, he dethrones him, or do you kind of like the mix-up that's been going on?
I like the mix up. I really do, man, because I love Brandon. You know what I mean? But in a way, I don't want to see another Brandon Pantoja. They fought, what, 3 times now? This will be a 4th time if they fight again. So I like the mix-up, man. I like it. I do feel for Moreno, though, because if you watch that fight, I don't know who that was inside that octagon, but it wasn't Moreno. That was, it looked like he had the weight of the world in there with him, and I feel it for him. And again, not taking anything from Royval, man, because he did what he needed to do. Hats off to Brandon Royval. He definitely did a wonderful job.
Speaking of Brandon Royval, he was kind of counted out a lot going into this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we've heard fighters say that sort of takes a little pressure off as well, and it kind of helps them perform better. In your case, what do you feel like? Do you feel like the people that the fans, do you feel like that takes pressure off of you? Do you feel like they've maybe counted you out a little bit? Is this a little bit of a comeback story for you? Do you like that situation?
Oh, I love it, man. I love this. I love this. Again, the worst thing about losing for me is like my last fight. The worst thing about losing is not being able to actually show my true colors in there. Mainly because, like I said, man, I had such a terrible weight cut because I love it when I fight in Vegas. I'm undefeated. I fought probably 4 or 5 times at the Apex, and I've never lost. Primarily because it's so much easier for me to make weight here in Las Vegas. Everything is here for me. The nutrition team, my gyms, my schedule, everything is online. I don't have to travel. So not with that being said, with what you said about comeback story, it's much more than a comeback story. It's also redemption, which is a comeback story. But with that being said, I feel there is no pressure. There's nothing. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose when you are the underdog. You know what I mean? So you just get it. You know what I'm saying? You just go in there and give it your all because you got nothing to lose. When you're at the top like Brendan and you're fighting in front of 22,000 people, that pressure becomes, and not just 22,000 people, but 22,000 Mexicans growing up in Mexico being like, Brendan, I'm counting on you. I'm betting on you. I love you. Da, 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 da. Like I said, the pressure becomes intense. When you're a guy like me, I'm 12-6 going in there against a guy that's 15-3. I'm like, shit, I'm going in there and I'm beating this guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of people are going to be surprised when I do beat Jafel Filho, but I'm not going to be surprised. A lot of people will be. They're going to be like, wow, this guy, Ode Osbourne, just came out of nowhere, but I didn't come out of nowhere. I've always been here. I have the perfect coaching combination. Dewey, Chase, and Pedro is like Professor Utonium from the Powerpuff Girls, where they put all the right chemicals in there to make the Powerpuff Girls.
So I wanted to ask you, Ode, going back to the division, the depth of the division. The champ is probably going to defend in Brazil. There was thoughts of maybe Marino versus him. That got spoiled last weekend. But Royval just fought him as well. Askarov took off a few years ago from the UFC. Albazi's got neck issues. Kai France is working off an L. You know what I mean? Like, it could be that Muhammad Mokaev, if he wins this weekend, could make that leap. So that does make it pretty exciting that if you can peel off a few dubs here in 2024, all of a sudden you may have yourself a shot. Do you even think about it, or are you one of those people that just goes fight by fight and just let that shake out when you're there?
I go fight by fight, but everyone has thought about it. We're human. It's human nature to think about those things. I've thought about those things all the time, but just because you think about something, you can't live in the future. You just have to live in the present. That's why, I glorify God. I always talk about God because God is the only thing that can help me to not just live in the presence, but live inside of his glory. And that's something that I'm doing right now. Just thinking about this fight. And then, after that, we go to the next one and the next one and the next one. I've always been, like I said, the underdog in many occasions, but this is the year where everything is going to go like this, right? You know what I'm saying? Moving out to Vegas 2 years ago, trying to find my coaches and trying to, it's been going like this. And then finally I've just been, I finally put everything together like a Rubik's Cube. And this is the year where people are going to go, oh, who is this guy? What's going on here? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited. I can't wait. And not just excited, but I am the word I'm going to use is humbled.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard any update? I ask you this every time, but I was wondering, have you heard any update on a UFC somewhere in the Caribbean? There's a lot of Jamaican fighters that are doing well or hold belts. Puerto Rico has produced many great athletes. There's MMA fighters that have Puerto Rican ties as well. Cuba, so have you heard anything about that, where they may head to one of these countries and host a show?
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. If it does happen, it would be like maybe Virgin Islands, only because the Virgin Islands, it's probably 1-to-1 with the dollar. You know what I mean? And they're probably the only other island that is 1-to-1 with the dollar. The reason why I bring that up is because, you know, there's not a lot of money in the islands, man, and you can't do that and expect people to pay $300 a ticket, you know, for a fight, or $150. $150 is thousands in my country, and people cannot afford that, and they will not pay it. So if it would happen, it would have to be in an island, like I said, that is 1-1, you know. Or I'm surprised they haven't done a Hawaii, UFC Hawaii.
Yeah, I was just about to say that these locations, some of these are beautiful. That, you know, they haven't been to the Philippines either, if I'm not mistaken. They may have been one, or they just haven't done it at all.
Yeah,
and they have a fighting culture. They're a sporting country, but some of these countries are just beautiful. You know what I mean? And I would think that fans, not just the local fans, obviously you'd want to appeal to them and attract them, but I would imagine you'd have a lot of people from Miami that would fly over, or maybe from other countries in Europe that would fly over, because who wouldn't want to be a few days in the Caribbean and take in some fights?
I feel that way about Africa too. You know, I'm surprised there hasn't been UFC Africa. You know, Muhammad Ali, when he fought in Africa, it was huge. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very surprised they hasn't had a UFC Africa.
Yeah, and I hope they don't drop the ball, because I feel like they've dropped it 3 times. You had Usman, who won like 15 straight with 5 title defenses. You had Israel Adesanya, who had 5 title defenses, and he won the title a few times. He won it back, if you'll recall. And then obviously Ngannou, he's now parted ways with them, but
he's probably going to do it.
They got DDP, South Africa, if you want to talk about the continent in general. But like I say, it'd be nice for them to make it there. I watch a lot of English Premier Football. There's so many great athletes that play soccer and play in the NFL and in the NBA. You know, that's why I can see why Dana White's obviously excited to create a PI out there. But I got to also throw a bone out there for my Caribbean brothers, because I watch a lot of baseball in Cuba and Puerto Rico. They have a rich history. Jamaica, you know, sprinters. Puerto Rico doubles up on boxing. Sorry, because I mentioned baseball. So we got to get this thing worldwide, and they got the horses. I mean, there's, like I say, there's Brown, there's you. I know it's OSP's from Haiti, but still nearby, right? Leon, excuse me,
Val Woodburn, that new fighter.
Aljo. I mean, there's a lot of fighters that have Caribbean ties. I think Jimmy Rivera, he's no longer there, but he was Puerto Rican, and Shane Burgos was Puerto Rican. He's no longer there. So it's like, what are you waiting for? I mean, the Hawaii, don't even get me started on Hawaii. You've gone through BJ Penn, Max Holloway, right? And you know, now the Brad Tavares. They had plenty of fighters back in the day where they could have done this, and still nothing.
There's
Ige,
Ige. Oh my gosh, yeah, man. I don't know, man.
But yet we get 20 shows at the Apex, which I know you love and you're undefeated at. And granted, it's just a short drive for Goz and I. But you know, like, come on. I think we can live with 15 shows at the Apex and not 20, and spray them shows out to different parts of the world and create more athletes from that area.
I agree. I think the Apex shows, you know, I think, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So the Apex is a safety net, right? Meaning if things fall apart behind closed doors that we don't know about, because there's a lot that happens that we don't know about, you know, but I do know and hear chatters, you know what I'm saying, where things kind of fall apart and they have a safety net. So that's a lot of times that happens, you know what I mean? A lot of stuff has to go. Man, it takes so much just to have 2 people fight each other. It takes so much. It's like, you know, things have to get approved, and oh man, yeah.
Here's my last question. We'll make it a fun one. What's the craziest thing you've ever ordered at the UFC PI? Because I know you guys can get your meals there. and they got people that can cook pretty much whatever you ask them for. So, have you ever gone in there with a bizarre request or anything like that?
Ah, man, nah, they don't have anything too crazy like that. Like exotic, they don't have anything exotic, but they have their food at the UFC PI is absolutely incredible. Today or yesterday they had jerk chicken. It was pretty good, you know. So the food there is amazing. The craziest thing I probably ever ordered, I would say, oh man, oof, I probably had a salad bowl with just like pure edamame and sesame seeds. Uh, that's about it. Like crazy. They don't. Yeah, I don't think they have anything too crazy there at the PI. It's all, you know, just ordinary food, but it's ordinary good food.
Was it the meal of the day? It just coincided that it was jerk chicken, or that was your request?
That was the meal of the day.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they have
And
some good food, man. They have steak and potatoes, jerk chicken, pasta. They'll have ribs, man. They'll kill it. They kill it over there. I love it.
mm-hmm. Wow, that's nuts. It does make sense to live in Vegas if you
Mhm.
fight for the UFC and you can, you don't have to transport a family all over the country.
Yeah.
I think that's a great benefit for all the fighters, the ones that recover from injury, like your boy Jamal Hill. He moved to Las Vegas recently. I mentioned Aljo. He maintains a home in Las Vegas. Marab, I think, does as well.
Yep.
But there's so many benefits to that PI, and fighters would be fools not to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
food is such a big one, man. Like you have no idea how much money I save per week on food. You know, because they give me breakfast and lunch every day, and like you can order your breakfast and go pick it up, and order your lunch and go pick it up. And on Friday they let you take like extra for the weekend, and they also have icon meals, so there's no way you can go hungry. So you can grab the icon meals. You can make there's a smoothie station where the nutrition team makes you whatever fruit smoothies that you want. If you want something light before training, protein, it's incredible. Not to mention the SNC, the strength and conditioning and physical therapy. Before this, I was paying, you know what I mean? I don't even know how much for strength and conditioning and physical therapy. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just like, man, life is so much easier being out here in Vegas, I will say.
Throw a fighter under the bus. Who's always at the food court at the UFC PI? Like you almost can guarantee that if you go, you'll see him or her there.
Jamal Pogues. Guarantee
Really?
if I go, I'm probably gonna see Jamal Pogues.
Okay. Well, he's a heavyweight, so we'll give him a pass, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. All
For
right,
sure.
cool. Great catching up with you, Ode. Thanks for the time, as always. I
Yeah.
hope the rest of your camp goes smooth. A little rough with the head coach not being there, but he'll be back in time for fight day. But
Yeah.
it seems like you've assembled a solid team around you. So best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.